Read it out loud.
Ooh, there's the nostril flare.
I'm trying.
She's processing. Uh-oh.
I can't flare my nostrils. It's saying flare your nostrils for 10 seconds without breaking eye contact with a co-star. Oh, whoa.
Without making eye contact?
Breaking.
Without breaking.
Wait,
eye
oh, without
like,
breaking.
so
Got it. Okay. Why'd you choose Anna? I'm offended. Go on.
Yeah.
Count to 10. Go.
1, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi,
Nope,
5
nope,
Mississippi,
nope,
6
nope.
Mississippi, 7.5 Mississippi.
Yeah, you
Mississippi.
broke it.
Oh,
It's not doing
No.
couldn't
I
do
feel like
it.
that was a nostril quiver.
Yeah.
I can do it, but I have to be serious.
Go. 1, 2, 3. It's like you're counting the
Hailee has an incredible scene with Mr. Dickinson, and Hailee, your acting in that scene, it's shocking. It's so visceral and intense. There's so much like hurt and anger, but like both playing at the same time. Like it's so much upset, but also so much fury, and it's just what you do is shocking in that scene. It reminds me the other moment that I think being in the room with you for it reminds me of the circus scene that we shot when Mr. Dickinson slaps you in season 1. And the way that you turn around and you have like a tear in your eye, but there's kind of hope in your face as you say that you went to the circus. It reminds me of that scene with the intensity that you give it.
Thank you.
It was myself, Anna Barishnikov, Adrian Blake-Insko, and Ella Hunt. We got in a car and we drove. And it was just an amazing experience. And it was actually quite cool. I was worried that I was going to get there and wish that I had gone sooner before we started season 1. But I actually couldn't have been happier that we went when we did, because I was able to sort of, I mean, it's so insane how similar our incredible team pulled off what we have, you know, in our show, how similar it is to the real thing. And I'm so glad that we were able to sort of make a home out of what we had before we sort of saw, and, you know, that we couldn't or didn't make comparisons, and there was none of that. It was just really awesome to go sort of when we did again, and see what we've created from what we know. And yeah, it was a wonderful experience. We spent the whole day out there, and it was kind of, you know, it was kind of surreal to be in this space, and just think about her energy is so, I mean, it's so there. And we all sort of had a moment where we looked at each other, and, you know, her desk is in the corner of her room, right where it is in our set. And our sets are so incredibly well done and well put together that you walk on set and, you know, you're in a soundstage, but the minute you step into the house or into, you know, Emily's bedroom, you feel her, you feel it. And it was wild to go there and be with them and feel it there too. It kind of really spoke to us. So it was a really fun day.
That is so cool. I just love hearing that. By the way, considering the time that we're in, if you were quarantining with Emily Dickinson, what would you want to ask her? What would you want to know?
Whoa. Damn. I would probably, I feel like I would just want to be a fly on the wall and just watch her. Is that weird?
Yeah.
I literally am in this room and I picture like a desk in the corner and me just being where I am right now and just watching her. I really do feel like she would thrive in quarantine. And yeah, I don't even know where to begin as far as what I would ask her.
But you're right. I do think that she would love quarantine because this is what she was used to. She was used to a lot of self-isolation and everything. So this would probably be the perfect fit, which I was going to ask too, what do you think she would say about your series if she knew that a TV series was being made about her, especially one that is just so creatively fulfilling and freeing? I think, well, I don't want to answer for you, but I want to know what you would think she would say about it.
Well, first of all, I would hope that she would feel proud of it. I don't know. I think she'd dig it. It's pretty sick. And the music's great. I mean, she has just such an incredible, wild mind that we were able to sort of, you know, take her work and sort of, you know, I don't know, dig into what her perspective might have been when writing these. And
Yeah.
I had a really cool moment when the show, right before the show came out, there were these incredible billboards all over New York City, and there were two major ones in Times Square. And it's so weird to me when I see that stuff. It's so wild. And it occurred to me that, like, that's Emily Dickinson in 2020 up on that, in the middle of Times Square. I mean, there had to have been points in her whole life. She lived her whole life. Nobody ever read her poetry when she was alive. Other than, a few exceptions. But to have had that moment and thinking like that, I did sort of, I don't necessarily think I know what she would say, but I think that was a pretty cool moment, just realizing that this was somebody that spent her entire life in a bedroom hoping, going through waves of it, of course, but at moments wishing and hoping and just praying that the world would see her work and see her worth.
Right.
And there she was in the middle of Times Square, and this show was made, and it's a really special show with a really wonderful message. And I'm gonna go ahead and say, I think she would say it's dope.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true. There is such a special message to this, especially for women, about not living within these constraints that we, have grown up with or that we've witnessed in the past. And like you said, I was so shocked to learn that so many of her poems were not published till after she died. I mean, that's just, I find it so sad, but in a way, it's so great that you are bringing this to life at this time and making it so relevant.
Thank you.
It's sort of eye-opener to that.
She's also in love with her brother's fiance-ish.
Right. Ish.
Maybe. And I love the two of you together. You guys have such good chemistry. And that's been something, of course, after I watched the first few episodes, I did a real Wikipedia deep dive on Emily Dickinson.
Great.
I'm embarrassed to say, I didn't know.
Hey, it's all good.
I did. I know, I knew some of her poetry, and I didn't know that much about her life. And I didn't know that it was one of those questions up in the air. Was, she's called Sue in your show with Susan, her I think who ended up being her sister-in-law.
Yep.
Was, there's all the speculation she was the love of her life and all this stuff, but it's still a bit of a mystery. And I love this love story.
Yeah, so do I. I know there are Dickinson scholars that are still trying to, uncover the details of that whole relationship. But it is said that she was in love with her best friend, and I think that it's such what we might know about this relationship, right, from what there is on the interwebs. It is such a beautiful relationship, and I love how we played it. I mean, our show is ultimately about not putting people in a box and not putting a label on a certain situation or behavior. They didn't have the terminology we do now. And for Emily, her whole life, all she wanted was to be understood. She thought differently. She was an artist. She saw things differently. She felt differently about certain things. She wrote about all of it. People didn't understand her, except for Sue. And the one person that saw her for who she was and loved her for who she was happened to be a woman. And then later her sister-in-law.